Our guys are real resilient. I've been very proud of them, and I'm just glad that we get to go into the tournament and be a part of it, because regardless of what happened today, I was going to be very proud of those guys. And, our goal every year is to get in the tournament, so you got a chance at the ultimate one. And, our guys, I think it's real hard when, you have a season where you lose 4 in a row. Most places, when you lose 4 in a row, guys, it's tough to keep guys together. And just the character in our building and the players and just everyone around, it makes it easy, and you can just focus on your job and keep fighting. And that's what our guys have done all year. They've just kept fighting, not worried about anything else. And in the meantime, I think we've gotten better each time doing that, and we've been able to overcome some injuries too.
A lot more gray in that beard for Kyle Shanahan than there used to be, and this year probably had a lot to do with that, Mike. It ages you quickly as you're a coach, and you lose 4 in a row and you're left for dead, and then you turn it around, and it all comes down to one game, Week 18. A team on the other side that you've mastered in recent years, which only adds to the anxiety because at some point they're going to get you back, and it looked like the Rams were indeed going to get the 49ers back. It was 17-0. Sean McVay was running around in the end zone like that fan we saw in Jacksonville a few weeks ago. He's out there on the field after a touchdown celebrating. I'm surprised they didn't throw a flag on him. I think they thought it was so funny. The officials didn't know what to do when all of a sudden McVay's in the end zone after a touchdown. And then 17-0 becomes 17-17, becomes 24-24, becomes overtime. And there he is. What are you doing? Get your big butt out of here. He does. Look, the official don't know what to do. What are you doing? Are you lost? But that was the happy time for the Rams. It ended up falling apart. Unbelievable that the 49ers showing the resiliency. Down 17-0 with a team that really isn't built to sling it around and score 17 points. It has to be methodical. It has to be deliberate. They shifted into that mode where they just pound and they pound and they pound and they pound, and they had enough time to do it, to tie it up and get to overtime and get it done. I was amazed by what the 49ers were able to pull off, because I assumed they were dead in the water, that Sean Payton was going to get Coach of the Year votes for somehow navigating a ridiculous COVID-infected season and everything else they had go on in New Orleans and take his team to the playoffs. Didn't happen because the 49ers pulled it out.
Well, I mean, as happy as Sean McVay was in the end zone, I think a happier guy at the end, a guy they were talking about it, and I think you had mentioned it as well, was John Lynch, on the chopping block. Did you see him at the end of that game, man? He's standing on chairs going nuts as they pulled that win off and possibly saved his job, if that was a thought process. That I don't know. You would know more about that. But, boy, was he happy. And you said it. So for a team in the Rams who were, 45-0 when leading at halftime? I mean, some ridiculous number like that. And they're up 17-0 and then 17-3 at half. And I've always said this when I've been calling games. It's halftime. You don't have to change your game plan. And San Francisco isn't a pass-happy team. Look at the stats. 31 runs, 32 passes. That's San Francisco. Pound the ball, run the ball, pound the ball, hit the passes. Hit them to Kittle. Deebo Samuel has been, like Cordell Patterson, I love these receivers who run the ball as well, and he throws the ball as well. I mean, it's phenomenal what they do, but they are a complementary football team. And while it looked like, oh, God, they're going to get blown out, they have to start passing all the time, they didn't panic. They kept to their game plan, and they methodically came back in this one. So very, very impressive. And, again, now 6 in a row over the Rams, so they have some kind of magic on them. I heard George Kittle saying, oh, yeah, a lot of the Rams were chirping in his ear when they were up 17-0. But, that's why it's a 60-minute ball game. In this case,
and
more.
Look, that's right. And the obvious motivation for the Rams was to win the game and win the division. And they still, they still pulled that off and won the division because the Cardinals lost. But the other motivation is get the 49ers out of the playoff field. You do not want to cross paths with this team again in the playoffs. You just don't want to do it. And, this is a team, Mike, they were the Colts of the NFC. They were the team that nobody wanted in this playoff field, and the 49ers are in now. And they're going to give – we got all week to talk about this, but I think they're going to give the Cowboys everything they can handle. You got Dan Quinn, the former Falcons head coach, running the defense in Dallas. You got Kyle Shanahan, the former Falcons offensive coordinator. I got a feeling Kyle Shanahan took pretty good notes when he was working for Dan Quinn about how Dan Quinn's going to call his defense in that moment. I really am concerned for the Cowboys. I think today or tomorrow is the 40th anniversary of the catch game. I really, really am worried about the Cowboys in that game. We were concerned they were going to draw the Cardinals. I think they should be every bit as concerned about drawing the 49ers, Mike.
Oh, I completely agree. Listen, Dallas, they've been known for that offensive line and that rushing attack. They haven't seen that in a little while now. I know Tyron Smith has been out. They've had Zach Martin, who played at his, normal all-pro level, but they haven't been running ball the way they normally have. Pollard was out the last game. So it's got to be that two-headed monster, and they have to get that going. God knows they have the weapons on offense, and now some guys obviously were out this last game. It's tough to put a lot on the last game, even though they destroyed Philadelphia. Michael Parsons, I can't wait to see what he does in this game as well, what he's done as a rookie and what he's going to do in his first playoff game. But, listen, kudos to San Fran. Kudos to that NFC West. They were the only team. They had 3 double-digit win teams. 3. Only one other division had 2, and that was the AFC East with the Bills and with New England. Everybody else just had 1. So we talked about that being the most competitive division in all of football, and it turned out being that way with 3 double-digit wins. So I agree with you. The way San Fran can play, and all eyes will point to Jimmy Garoppolo again, in a clutch time. Will he make the throw or will he overthrow? Will he make the play? But I think they have a really, really good chance in this game because Dallas is not hitting on their running cylinders right now.
And Garoppolo's got that thumb injury, but he played through it, overcame a couple of interceptions, and had a great drive on Sunday against the Rams. Here's Kyle Shanahan after the game talking about Garoppolo's ability to bounce back after the miscues.
Jimmy's always been pretty good at bouncing back from picks. I think it's tough when you're trying to run the ball a ton, so you don't get in too much of a rhythm. You're trying to do that when it happens, and gosh, he made some big plays. And then that one at the end down in the red zone, that pick that happened between him and George, it was real tough. But to come back and lead us down there, however many ever yards it was, like close to, I think it was a little over 80, to tie it up, to send it with an overtime, he was unbelievable today.
And that's what Garoppolo does, Mike. He'll do just enough to keep Kyle Shanahan on board with him. And I also think the fact that Trey Lance hasn't developed the way they thought they would is a factor as well. But, we saw it yesterday. Garoppolo gets put back in that Bob Greasy from the early 70s category where all you're doing is handing off. Kyle gets freaked out, so it's handoff. The only pass that we saw for an extended stretch was Deebo Samuel throwing the ball for a touchdown. So, and then you need Garoppolo, and he woke it up and he got it done. But again, it's just enough to make Kyle Shanahan think, okay, he's our guy. It's a weird vibe, and it's going to continue because I still think in key moments Garoppolo is going to hold him back. But he's also going to do enough in other key moments to continue to earn the chance to see if he can do it in another key moment at some game down the line.
As I said, this is a complementary football team, and I don't just mean running and passing. And the thought that Trey Lance, now his upside may be phenomenal, but to think that he would have come in missing a year and playing just 13 games but not playing the year before and all of a sudden pick everything up and be ready to go, that's a tough call for any rookie, let alone one that hadn't played in a year and only 13 games in college. So I never understood play Trey. I never understood that at all. You know exactly what you have in Jimmy Garoppolo. And so you have to run the ball well. But, man, give it up to that defense as well. That D-line sacked Stafford 5 times, which means you're hitting them a bunch more than that. That's what I mean about complementary football, that they have that defense, that defensive line that can get after the quarterback. So that, to me, is all the things that they need. And even though they were down, again, they came back. The offense started methodically doing their thing coming back. The defense was knocking Stafford around and went up throwing 2 interceptions in this game. This is how they need to roll. If the game, if it's 17-0, with 8 minutes to go in the game, and all of a sudden they got to be pass happy, I don't think you get the same outcome. But it was 17-0 and 17-3 by halftime. So you got a half a ball to go so you can still stay in your game plan. It's when they get taken out of their game plan, and this is true for a lot of teams. It's not exclusive to the 49ers, but the great teams, when they get taken out of their game plan, can still make a game out of it and come back. That would be tough, I think, for San Francisco if they had to become a pass-happy team.
And Mike, I agree with you completely on Trey Lance, but we were talking earlier about whatever conversations resulted in the Colts deciding to go all in with Carson Wentz. I'd love to know exactly what transpired in the 49ers organization to make somebody think it was a good idea to take the 12th overall pick in the 2021 draft, add 2 future first-round picks and a third-round pick to go up to number 3 to take whoever was left after Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, whether it's Mac Jones, whether it's Justin Fields, whether it's Trey Lance, when you've got Jimmy Garoppolo, but they were exasperated with him because he can't stay healthy. Why? Look at where they are right now. What has Trey Lance done to help them to get to where they are right now? Absolutely nothing. And they're in a position where they have another chance to make a run at the Super Bowl. They would have had their first-round pick for next year, their first-round pick for the year after that. They could have used the 12th overall pick on somebody who could have maybe helped them be even better this year, or just taken whatever quarterback was left when they were on the clock at number 12. It just felt like they freaked out because they had passed on Patrick Mahomes in 2017, and they shouldn't have. They said no to Tom Brady when he wanted to come home and play for the 49ers. I just feel like they freaked out, and they made a rash decision in a weak moment. And I think, again, just like with Andy Reid, give him a big enough cheeseburger, he'll tell you who he'd rather play this weekend. I don't know what you'd have to give Kyle Shanahan to get him to tell you the truth, but I'd love to know the truth as to why and how they freaked out and made that move, because this season has told us they should have just stayed where they were.
Well, I guess my thought process was, listen, I thought Mac Jones was going to go there. My thought was, all right, if you're not enamored by Garoppolo and he's injury prone and going to miss some games, I need to bring in a quarterback who maybe has a little more experience in college and also at the Power 5 level, like a Justin Fields and a Mac Jones, from Ohio State and Alabama. But they obviously are somebody, the decision maker there, whether it was John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, whoever made a decision, felt Trey Lance had the biggest upside. They felt maybe his ceiling was the highest with what they wanted to do, but you had to know full well that he was going to be the least ready, at least I know I thought that, of the quarterbacks coming out of the experience they had in college and who they played for in playing in big-time games in Power 5 schools.
One last point, too, because the Rams decided to go all in the offseason and trade Jared Goff, plus 2 first-round picks, plus a third-round pick for Matthew Stafford. And, I feel like what we're seeing from Stafford is a guy who's been in the NFL since 2009 and has never played for a front runner and is kind of learning on the fly what it's like to play for a team that actually has expectations. And at times, Mike, they were living dangerously. They go to Minnesota with 3 Stafford interceptions and somehow win. They go to Baltimore, a game they should have lost. There was that pick 6 to start the game. They somehow win. Yesterday, it was a game they should have easily won, and Stafford's miscues contribute to a loss. Hey, that game next Monday night between the Cardinals and the Rams, I mean, all the playoff games to me are going to be fascinating, but I want to see what Matthew Stafford does as a guy that is hosting a playoff game and is playing for a team that's going to be expected to win. Is he going to step up and make the big throws in the big moments, or is it going to be some of this stuff we've seen in recent weeks that makes us say they traded Jared Goff for Jared Goff?
Yeah, luckily they're playing a team that we can't figure out in the Arizona Cardinals, right? The Rams and the Cardinals split in the regular season a couple of weeks ago. I used the term, I thought Arizona was swirling down the drain, and then they did what they did to Dallas, which we were like, okay, where did that come from? Kyler Murray ran a little bit more in that game, so I'm not sure which team you're getting. The one thing that's interesting to me, we've seen Sony Michel was a nice pickup for them. Obviously, Cooper Kupp, what he continues to do, 7 catches over 100 yards again, is just amazing. Higbee gets a couple of touchdown catches as well. They got Cam Akers back from that Achilles. This was, I believe, his first game back. So let's see another week. Let's see a little bit more. He only ran the ball a couple times. He caught a few balls, but I would expect even a little more out of him. Just another, I think, really good weapon that the Rams are getting back and going to be 1 week more healthy of getting back into the groove a little bit. I think that's a good thing for them.
They got to have more balance. And running the ball is a mentality. It's a mindset. It's a different approach altogether from the blocker standpoint. You're firing off instead of backing up, and they need to get more of that mindset into this team if they want to be successful in the postseason. It can't just be the passing game and hope that the defense can get some sacks. They have to run the ball, maybe control the clock, and break the other team's will a little bit like their will was broken on Sunday.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.